Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and I can tell you today's episode is going to be a good one. Today I have with me Zehra Cataltepe, and I had no chance of pronouncing that correctly, so my apologies. Zehra, thank you for joining me today. And she is the CEO of Tazi.ai, Tazi with a Z.ai. So Zehra, thank you for welcoming me for joining me today. We've already had like 15 minutes of really fun conversation before we started recording. So this is going to be a great one. We always give the chance at the beginning to give the elevator pitch. What is Tazi?
Tony, thank you so much. It's so awesome to be here, like to be together with the guy in the red hat at the ITC conference. Finally, I get a chance to speak with you. Tazi is a no-code software as a service machine learning platform provider. And we are providing a new kind of machine learning. For insurance, we are providing customer retention, profitability monitoring, and claim fraud detection solutions in different lines of business. And we are helping underwriters and claims adjusters and SIU units with our solutions. But I have a bigger vision. My co-founder Tanju's vision, and the last name is totally his fault because he's my husband. So our vision is to bring machine learning serving you, as opposed to you serving machine learning as a human. In order to be able to in order to be able to have such kind of machine learning, the machine learning needs to be clever, it needs to be accessible, and it also needs to be sustainable. And let me just a little bit elaborate on that. So clever means machine learning needs to adjust to change. So as data changes, as the world changes, and it has to continuously learn, and it also has to learn from human experts as well. So being clever means being able to take advice from data as well as human experts. And insurance companies have 30 plus years of experience in so many people. So it's a shame to not make use of that information. Okay. And also insurance experts don't need to be data scientists to teach machine learning with us. So we are really shifting the whole paradigm. So the machine learning that serves you has to be also accessible. By accessible, I mean having no code interfaces, very easy to use, and also requiring no data science knowledge, as well as being collaborative. Because in insurance, you are solving extremely difficult problems. I was talking with an underwriter friend of mine, and he said in medium-sized, mid-market commercial insurance, 50% of the time there is data and there is actual advice. 50% of the time, you just tell the underwriter to do something about it. So he has to, or she has to invent a solution. So I had another underwriter who told me, I want Tazi to be my magic wand. And I told him, you know what, we'll be your fishing pole and we'll help you. And we are helping him. So the machine learning that serves you has to be accessible. And we see underwriters, we see business analysts in insurance capable of using our kind of machine learning because we are understandable, because we are no code and easy to use and collaborative as well. And finally, there is sustainability. We have continuous learning, and with continuous learning, our solutions use only a fraction of computational resources that the batch machine learning systems use. Right now, what people are doing is they know that their models need to change because life changes. So either they train models like crazy, like every day, okay? We have huge cloud bills, and your machine learning models might say something one day and some other thing another day, because these are very complicated models. Or they say, okay, let me wait and see, and when it fails, I'm going to train my model. So if you know that your model will fail because of change, why do you wait? So our approach is not is much less energy consuming than training it at frequent intervals, and also much more beneficial than waiting for it to fail. So we actually train our models while change is happening, so you always have alternative trained continuously learned models to replace your old model. And we have seen also that it is very easy to verify the models, because the models are created together with the business experts. They are not just the baby of the data scientists, but they are owned by business units. And this is just so, I mean, so much fun. I mean, I see insurance companies having scrum meetings with their AI models, and sales and marketing, underwriter, actuary, and IT at the same table. So this is the kind of work that we are bringing.
So that they're created in an agile way with the business partner, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And they adapt to business processes. So if a customer of mine really expressed this in such a great way. He said that your AI models are actually observed by us every day, and we adjust our business processes based on the outcomes and understanding of the AI models. And then we update our business processes, and then outputs of those business processes feed the AI models back. So we are talking of a very organic and very adaptive way of working with machine learning. When you just say, okay, only the data scientist knows this stuff, and you insurance people, you know nothing about machine learning. When you say that, there is a huge barrier, and those models cannot be the stepchild. I mean, they have to be working together with the insurance people, because insurance is very complex, and I learned it hard way. So I came into insurance back in 2018, and I'm still learning. So it's a very sophisticated domain of business.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so you have a master's in computer science, a bachelor's in computer engineering. By the way, the master's from Caltech, a PhD in computer science from Caltech, and
Yes.
insurance is complex for you.
It is.
Like, this is fantastic.
Actually, it is. Of course, it is. Insurance and sales.
Okay.
These are so complicated, because with sales, you are convincing someone to so much that they are willing to give you a part of their money. So they love what you're doing
Usually a significant amount, yeah.
Yeah, they love you so much. They believe in the value that you create so much. They are willing to give you their money. So sales, in my opinion, I mean, you have to be a problem solver to be selling. And insurance,
I agree with you.
Insurance is, I really look at every insurance person as my Iron Man, Iron Woman, because you guys, I mean, like insurance people have been dealing with modeling all their lives, and their life depends on it, because you have to look back at the past and predict the future, and based on that future you underwrite.
Yeah, no, it is. So okay, so there's a lot here. A lot.
Yeah,
okay,
yes, of course. Yeah.
So insurance, as far as I've been able to find, is the only business where you don't know the cost of goods sold when you sell it. And right, you didn't come from the business side, but any MBA or even any bachelor's in business would immediately go, when you tell them that, they immediately go like, that doesn't make any sense. How do you know how much to charge for it? Yeah, that's exactly why it's messy, right? So from the very beginning, we don't know the cost of goods sold. Now, using the law of large numbers, the actuaries, to my best understanding, I am not an actuary in any way, shape, or form. I never passed Calc 1. So I am not a math person, but to the best of my understanding, the actuaries use the law of large numbers and a lot of math to best predict in the overall population of our insureds how much the aggregate losses will be, right? But they do this looking back at prior claims, right? And making assumptions about the future. So basically the old saying, I don't know if you've heard it, you probably have, but the old saying is an insurance company is a car driven by a blindfolded driver, right? And that's the executive leadership, and then sitting to his or her right hand are actuaries that are only looking back, right? They're not allowed to look forward. Like the front windshield is blacked out. They can only look back, right? And then the two pedals. You've got the accelerator pedal, and that's your salespeople, and then you've got your brake pedal, which is your underwriters, and somehow you've got to get this thing going and make it there safely and profitably and serve your client correctly. Like it's a very hard business, absolutely. So I love hearing you say that, because yeah, we have a lot of people in insurance, especially on the agency side, who don't have a college degree, and they've been very successful selling this stuff. And then in the carrier side, we have a lot of people with college degrees, but not a PhD. Even master's degrees are not super common in the carrier side. And yet with a PhD, you find this complex. It is an incredibly complex industry, 100%. And that's one of the beauties of it. You never get bored of it. So let's kind of go ahead.
I have something to tell you. First of all, for a PhD from Caltech, you have to have lots of fun. Okay, so if it's not fun, you won't do it. So if you are thinking of doing a PhD, find something that you really love and do it. It should be fun.
That is very fair.
I had tons of fun. Yes, I had to sleep under my desk, like I worked until 4 a.m. in the morning, but I had tons of fun. It was just an awesome experience. But going back to insurance, I just love that analogy. But also, I think, I really have to say a couple of things about machine learning here, and the way things actually did work. Things did work that way because there is continuity in life. Okay, so you can look back at what has happened, and based on that, you can predict what will happen in the future. If you have a lot of information about the past, and if you have the ability to crunch those numbers, then you are going to have a projection of what might happen in the future. And your projection, your prediction will be probably okay. And that happens if past was pretty much stable, or you are looking at a huge number of data points.
That makes sense.
Okay? So even if you get the average right, if you are above the average, if you price right a little bit above the average, then and your uncertainty about average is actually very little because you have so many numbers. Then if there is not too much change, then you can actually do that. You can actually do that, blindfolded CEO driving the car with the help he or she is getting from the people around him, or her. But I think what's happening in insurance right now is there are two things, one good and one bad. The amount of data that you can look at from the past, the amount of useful data that will help you predict what will happen, gets less as life changes. I'm just using my hands. I have a big slide on that. But if life changes, basically, this was your old day. This is your new life. Okay. So
yes. So a quick example would be, all of a sudden your policyholders start driving Uber, and you had never thought about, because this was never a thing before.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So your risk completely changed.
Exactly.
And you have no data.
Yeah, and you are not supposed to use credit score anymore, okay? And the whole market changes, behavior of everybody changes.
Yeah.
Or people start shopping online as opposed to offline. Their payment mechanisms.
Let's say a worldwide pandemic keeps people at home for 18 months.
Yes,
or people start renting their bedrooms out on Airbnb, and that didn't exist before.
Exactly, and as opposed to really stable and stable lives that we can take lessons from, we are changing in tremendous ways. I mean, like as a customer, a part of us keeps changing all the time, and if not, your competitor changes.
And I think it's fair to say that the pace of change is accelerating.
It has accelerated.
It is unlikely to slow down. It's likely to continue accelerating.
It is, and I think this is going to drive insurance to more and more being an efficient market, just like the stock market. The insurance price that you give.
So that's its own kind of worms. But okay, fair enough. Okay.
I'm not going to open that. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried to predict the stock market, and I decided to really work with the experts. Only they can help there. Anyway, so going back to the car analogy. There has always been the assumption that the actuary only looks at the past, and the amount of communication about what he or she sees about the past to the sales and marketing team, to the underwriter, to the CEO is very little, because he or she is doing a very complex task. So the explainability of what has happened has been very limited. So Extendable AI is a great technology that is helping AI models and data to be opened to not just actuaries, but everybody.
This is really big. This is really big. So I don't know how explainable the old style actuarial stuff was. And if it was explainable, I don't know how good of a job actuaries did explaining it to the business side. My understanding is not a very good job. Yes. And for any actuaries listening, in my experience in the talent side of actuarial, because we place a lot of actuaries, the difference between a $200,000 actuary and a $400,000 chief actuary generally is not the math. It's how well they can explain the math to the business people. So having said that, I do understand, based on what I've read, again, I'm not a practitioner on the AI side, but what I've read is that part of the problem with AI is the black box problem. The machine's smarter than we are, but it can't explain you how it got there, and it might be making relationships that the regulators are not comfortable with.
Exactly.
And at the very least, they're going to want you to explain those relationships, right? So what I'm understanding here is that what you offer, it doesn't have that black box effect. It is explainable AI.
Exactly. So by explainable, people mean different things by explainable AI.
Of course.
If you go to any AI platform, they will tell you, my model uses these variables, the age of you are not supposed to use age, but like the location and
whatever legal variables we can use in this state.
Yeah. So they will say, my model used these variables in the order of importance, and this is my explanation. This is not an explanation. Wake up. Because only just saying my model uses this, you are not explaining anything. Like I might.
You're giving me a list of ingredients.
Exactly.
But not telling me how you made the cake.
I love that. I just love this, because for Thanksgiving, we just started a series of mailings. They are Thanksgiving recipes. Exactly in that way. So we don't just show the ingredients. We also show you the cake, but the cake meaning the machine learning model explanation. I'll tell you a little bit about that as well.
If I remember to do it, I will probably include here over my face during this part a comic from XKCD. I don't know if you're familiar with them. So they have one from several years ago where basically it's the computer science department at the university saying that they have been uninvited from the faculty dinners because every time it was their turn to host, the machine was still experimenting basically, and the machine had it, like they hadn't hosted enough times to get to the point where the machine's creating good food. So anyway, it's very funny. I'll put it.
Send it over.
I will definitely send it over.
Okay, do that. So explanation is not just a list of ingredients. Explanation is actually telling you how the cake is formed. Because if you beat the eggs first and then add sugar versus beat the eggs and don't add sugar,
huge difference. Yes.
Makes a big difference in what happens. But it's not just that. You need to be able to slice the cake, look inside, and maybe look at the other side too. We are giving you exactly that. I mean, at this point, can I just show you something?
Absolutely. You can take over the meeting and yeah, let me make you host.
I'll just show you just one of our interfaces.
No problem. Yeah, go ahead and share your screen.
I don't want this. Yeah, just 1 second. I'll just show you just one little extra.
This is fantastic. For the listeners, if you're watching on the audio version, click on the link to the YouTube version to watch this piece.
Yeah. So this is one of our interactive explanations. So on the left-hand side of this chart, you would see the variables used, but you can, so this is actually a map of all your data. Okay, so on the right-hand side, this is a customer, this is actually a claim fraud detection model. So the red parts show you there is a problem. The blue parts show you everything is normal, okay? Now, all your data is in here actually. All your claims go through this, and this model has been trained using all your claims data and maybe other data sources that we have found. So see what happens. So you are able to go through each segment. You can deep dive into the segments, and you can actually see explanations. So I mean, you would need to try this on your own, and we can do that very easily, by the way. But what you are able to do is you are able to go inside a segment, look in the details of the segment, see who is there, and look at the variables affecting that segment. You can do all of that, and you can also take actions, which means, right on this interface, you can say, I think these kinds of customers are actually not fraudulent, not suspect. Don't tell anything about it. Actually, just pay them immediately, or for the others, SI units has to see this. Let's do that. And we support these with the dashboards as well. So based on whoever you are at the table, you are able to see the part of the cake, the machine learning model that you are very good at knowing, so that if something is wrong with it, you can tell from your perspective.
And you don't have to be a data scientist. You can be Tony who never passed Calc 1, or you can be a regulator, or you can be a regular human.
You can be a regular human, and I'll just do very shameless advertising. I mean, this is not advertising, but there is one video. We are working with a guy from ex-Apple with this on this, and when I show this, I feel like a better version of Steve Jobs. So look at this. Do you have? Can you hear the sound?
I can hear the sound. I don't know if it's being recorded. Let's hope so, but I can hear it.
Okay, so this is the latest baby. Okay, look. So what's happening here is this is our one hub, like one click hub. So all your AI system is accessible from this dashboard. And if you are just if you are just driving the car, then you have everything in the auto mode. But right here, just by clicking a button, you have more options. Like you have ability to hyperparameter optimize the models. You have ability to go into the models and change them. You have ability to tie up the results to REST APIs so that they can be served to other people, other departments. So you can do all of that through this one-click interface, and you don't have to be a data scientist. So what I believe in is machine learning is used by doing. So I mean, you can watch thousands of hours of classes, but you are not going to learn machine learning unless you make it useful for you, unless you make your own cake.
Okay.
And then this is done by making many cakes. Okay, so you are not going to just have one model and live with it all your life. You have to create a model, put it in business, and see how it behaves. Maybe it's just a useless model. Fine, you'll just throw it away and create another one. But you have learned something about your data, and you have learned something about your model, and also about your customers, about your business processes, and about your organization. You have created something together. So when you see the failure of what you have done, you actually are able to create something better next time. And we really need business in insurance to be able to do that, because a solution doesn't consist of only a single model. So if you want to increase your customer retention, I know that not many people have customer retention problem, especially in auto. Like whenever I speak, they say they have 97% customer retention.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, in non-auto, there is more of a customer retention problem. But let's just take customer retention problem. So our customer retention models tell you exactly what kind of people are likely to leave you. So we tell that to you beforehand. We predict who is going to leave. But we don't just say, okay, fine, I predicted, fine. It's not useful if I just do that. So we actually are able to tell you, among these people who are about to leave, are they going to be profitable for you in the future? So you
is
have
it worth trying to retain them?
Exactly. And then maybe it's not really about worth trying to retain them. You are pricing these people wrong. So their risk is not being computed correctly by your
so likely they're leaving you because Progressive is giving them a better price. Is Progressive right in giving them a better price? Yes. Or are you happy to see them go? Because that's one thing that for me was really fascinating when I went through Nationwide's financial leadership rotation program at Nationwide Insurance, and I failed because I can't do math. That's part of it. But I did get to chat with a lot of the leaders, and I remember one guy, and I can't remember his name, but what he told us really stuck with me, and he said, I don't worry when Progressive when Progressive steals a customer from us because they have a better price.
This is urban legend. I want to work with someone to beat that, because you are not the only one who told me that Progressive has the best models.
That's the reputation they have, especially in auto, right? So basically what he said is, I don't worry if Progressive takes my client, I lose $600 a year that the client was paying me, right? I can live with that. What I worry is when I'm cheaper than Progressive, because they likely know something I don't, right? And so what happens is the client comes to me and it's mispriced, and then they cost me $1 million claim, right? So because of the relationship between premium and the potential for a gigantic claim, that I thought that was fascinating, and that's one of the reasons that this industry is so fascinating. So yes, anything that your machine learning platform can do to help us be smarter about those decisions is a giant win for the industry.
And you can be smarter. San Francisco has microclimates, my friends. So there is a place called Banana Belt. Go to the ocean, there is fog. To go to the Bayside, you have sun. So So there are microclimates, there are
Mm-hmm.
places, there are things about your customer, your region that only you know. And you have data for it. If you are not able to model that, it's like let progressive take stuff out of your hand.
Okay,
I mean, you deserve it. You deserve it.
A couple of questions. So I'm going to put myself in the shoes of some of our listeners, right? We probably have listeners who are, no, we definitely have listeners who are leaders within different carriers, big and small. So if I'm at a small carrier, at a, a 5-state carrier or a 10-state, what would be a regional?
Yes.
How much data do we need to have for this type of machine learning to work? Does it work for a county mutual with that only works in one county, or a one-state company? Like, how do you know if you have enough data for something like this to work?
Okay, it's an awesome question. So everybody tells me, like, how much data do I need? You need all the data you can handle, all the data you can get, all the time.
What's the minimum?
Okay, so I look at it as follows. Remember the fishing analogy, okay? So instead of, and I have seen telco companies who gathered oceans of data, and one department cannot speak to the other one, and they could not create a solution, although they had billions of data points. So it's not really about how much data you have, it's about what do you use that data for. So if you don't have data, or if you have little data, my recommendation, I have 30 years of machine learning experience. I don't show it, of course, yes, but I have 30 years of machine learning experience almost. And my belief is data is good only if it is created, if it is used to create solutions that helps business. Okay, so forget about creating a machine learning model with 98% accuracy. Maybe you need a model with 80% accuracy, and sales and marketing team or underwriter trusts that model, uses it, and they find very interesting ways of using it, reaching out to your customer, and that model is useful suddenly for you. So you should always keep in mind what business value can a machine learning model bring, and always you should fish. You should, with your existing data, create a model and examine your model to see where it fails. Don't just say I have 80% accuracy. See where you don't have accuracy. See where you have uncertainty. And maybe for those parts, you are not going to write policies. And maybe for those parts, only for those parts, maybe you need additional data. So instead of just going ahead and buying tons of data, and people make a lot of investment on that, you should really first make this to work and see how it fits you, because your machine learning system will fit you, your organization. And you are going to make a difference with the policy that you are writing in your customer's life. And I have seen customer experience to be a very important ingredient here. Price is not the only factor. So being able to understand where the existing policies or existing insurances fail, and creating solutions to help the customer at the end, I think is the way to go. And machine learning models do help you. They tell you whom to call, when to call, what kind of thing does my customer need right now. And at the end, I really would love insurance companies to actually protect people from risk, because sometimes risk can be foreseen. So if you can foresee risk, it is your duty to actually help your customers take precautions to prevent it. And insurance companies can do that. I'm not saying that they can do that all the time, but there are places where they can make a huge difference.
It's most certainly the future of the industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we're clear on that. We just don't yet know how, but I think we're clear on that. Also, I can also see the problem where, okay, I'm big enough. I'm a super regional with 30 states. Uh, I'm big enough. I have enough data, but that data is siloed. That data is some of it is in Access databases. Some of it is in Lotus Notes databases. Some of it is in SQL. Right, like it right now, it's all over the place and it's not standardized, and like it's just a mess. How
Yes.
Where do I need to get to in order to be able to take advantage of this? Do I need to is the first step to get everything into a SQL data lake, or and at this point, like I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So where do I need to get the data to in order for it to be useful within your system?
This is a great question. So people talk about cloud, like taking everything to cloud, migrating to cloud, for example, or not. So we have a customer that we started at the cloud, and then they actually found out that actually independent from us.
Hey, this is Tony from the future. I am editing the conversation that Tony from the past had with Zehra, and she reached out a couple days later and asked me to make sure that I mention that their cloud solutions are not more expensive. She was a little afraid that she has misexplained herself and that the listeners would think that they were expensive on the cloud. They're actually very cost effective in the cloud. So anyway, I just wanted to interrupt to say that. Now back to the original conversation. Thank you.
They decided that cloud was not the way to go for them, so they came back to on-premise, and we are available both on cloud and on premise. So it really depends on like where your existing data is and where your business processes work. So how are you contacting your customers? And based on that, you should be where your customer is, where your transactions are. And we just started a partnership with a company that actually does exactly that. So they gather data from different resources, and instead of storing data unnecessarily, they actually on the fly connect different data sources together so that you use the right kind of data. Again, it's not really about swamping machine learning with tons of data. It's about helping machine learning with the right kind of data. And finally, I just want to talk about, I have to talk about this. It's an anecdote that I love. So we were doing this for a company in Europe. We are doing this cross-sell model. They want to increase their homeowners insurance policies. And we had underwriters and sales and marketing people, in a large room when COVID wasn't happening. We had everybody looking at the AI models that they created with their newbie data scientists. So they looked at the models, and some underwriters said, you know what, I have some Excel files, and you are not using that data because I didn't give it down to IT. But I have them. I look at them when I make my decisions. I think I should give those files to you guys so that we can help the models. So that guy introduced 15 more variables into the machine learning solution, to the cross-sell solution. And the machine learning solution was at least 10% more accurate, thanks to him. And then it was his baby now. It wasn't IT's baby.
Oh.
It is his baby now because his data is there. People, when they see that there is a benefit in a machine learning model, they want to work with it, and they can be really providing priceless piece of information.
What I was at a major carrier, and I probably shouldn't say the name, but anyway, and I heard this as a rumor, this was not confirmed, but there was a rumor that they did a search of the network to get an idea of they had kind of had the idea that some people had like access databases that they used for different things, and they weren't connected to anything else, right? Just in that department or in that team or whatever, and they found something like 15,000 access databases in that. So like there's a ton of data that is structured by non-professionals, right? By non-database people.
Yes.
And that does a lot of important things in the company, and like it's not mapped in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
completely get what you're saying. Yeah, and the more that the business user sees the benefit, the more that they'll donate their data, and when they donate their data, they'll become now they have skin in the game. They care about this working.
Exactly.
So that's a fantastic.
And we did work, that exact that customer. They had archived databases, and we actually created adapters for them. Actually, in a matter of a week or two, and we were able to connect to their data sources as well. So there is data, lying in different places, and I think if you just get a taste of it before you integrate, I highly recommend that, create some initial models and see what kind of actions you can take with the outputs of these models. If the model was 5% more accurate, would your actions create business value for you? Then do the integration, then do all the stuff. But before that, I highly recommend like going into little fishing sprees and testing the waters, and not just in terms of data, but also in terms of the organization. I mean, there are so many things that need to be done about the organization and also your customers, because you always have to think about, if I do this, what will my customer do? And try to predict your customer, do little tests, not on all your customers, like a little 5% of the population, and see, and I know that regulations don't allow you to do that for everything, but wherever you can, try to see what will happen afterwards. So our customers are able to think of not just, oh, do I have the bestest machine learning model? They are able to think of, what is the next thing? So the latest question I have been asked is, as an insurance company, how can I help my agencies so that they love me?
So that they love me. Okay.
Yes.
So
what is the answer for that? I mean, if anybody can tell me the answer, I would love that. I want to answer that question.
Okay. So number one, I'm going to take a wild guess, and feel free not to answer. I'm going to take a wild guess that this was State Auto Insurance.
No,
okay.
Don't work with the
and I can think of other options, but yeah, there's a few carriers out there that are really, really, really good with independent agents, and that really care about independent agents. Okay. Another one that would come to mind is Amica.
Okay.
Would be another one and I'm sure there's others, right? And you're in the West Coast, and I'm not as familiar with West Coast carriers, but that's a great question. So
yes. I want to work with Amica then, because State Auto is big, because one of the things that we found out as a startup is, unfortunately, the larger carriers have so many steps that you have to go through, very bureaucratic, and also almost their AI is like an elephant in a sense. So they are replacing their actuaries with their data scientists, basically, and it's the same old logic. There are more clever people who know the math, and we used to leave actuarial work to them. Now we are going to leave machine learning to them, and they will solve it for me, and I will just take actions. Things don't work that way. You have to take responsibility, and forget about big data, forget about huge data. It's really the age of change, and as change is happening, people who can react faster and who can think of the future will be the winners, and they will be inventing such great things for the customers. Nobody will be able to beat that. So I'm looking forward to work with those kinds of people.
Perfect. So we're running out of time here because you've got a meeting, but I would love to have you back on the podcast whenever you want. Just let me know. Okay. This has been fantastic. And I might be able to answer that question. What can I do to make my independent agents love me? And basically my answer to it is I'm going to get 3 or 4 agents from different successful agents from different places and get them on the podcast for a group discussion on this question. And I'll
love that. I'll be
thank you for
watching.
the idea. I will definitely start working on that. And I have some ideas on who I'd like to have, because I know a lot of agents, even though I'm a carrier side guy. When this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I will also tag Tazi. So if people want more information, it's Tazi.ai is the actual website, right?
Yes, it is, and we are working on our website. It's always work in progress. So please excuse it.
It's solid compared to a lot of insurance websites. It's solid. I really can't complain. So thank you so much for your time. I hope to have you on the show again. This has been really, really, really cool. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much. It has been fun. Have fun. And you know what? You can do math. Okay. So if a woman from computer science can do machine learning in insurance, my friend, you can do math so easily. Okay.
I love
it.
Thank
you can do anything you want. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.